Meantime, we've got Senator Tim Scott, Republican of South Carolina, joining us right now as the government is really trying to crack down on those who visit from states with high virus, case rates, if you will. This is extending nationwide. It began with Florida, now closely scrutinizing those who are coming in from places like New York or Connecticut or New Jersey, now extending to a lot of states doing the same. I don't know if South Carolina is among them, but the senator joins us now to update us. Senator, what's going on there?
Good morning, Neil. We have done the exact same thing. That pattern continues. We've targeted those folks coming to particularly the coast of South Carolina. The governor said yesterday during a press conference that folks coming from Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, as well as New Orleans, that seems to be another hot spot, they have to be self-quarantined for 14 days. And he's made it a criminal violation for you not to self-quarantine, which comes with, I think it's 30 days in jail or a $1,000 fine. This is a serious and significant development as we watch folks come to the South looking to escape those hot spots. But the concern, of course, is as they come to the South, especially South Carolina, we're focusing on making sure that they're quarantined, that they're healthy before they start interacting with other folks.
I'd be curious because this occurs within hours, some of the things that are being done in your state, Senator, with what China just did by temporarily banning foreign nationals from entering the country. So now it's restricting all non-Chinese citizens. You can't come. And what's interesting about that is we were thinking that China was out of the worst of it. And now concerns either about a mutating virus or a second wave of this. Maybe they're taking precautions just in case. What do you make of what's going on?
Well, man, I think if you look back at the president's containment strategy at the beginning, I think it saved thousands of lives, and we're starting to see that same strategy deployed throughout the world, China, Italy, other places, Spain as well. And now you're starting to see it in pockets of America because we know that the containment strategy absolutely produces results. To flatten the curve, the containment strategy has to be enhanced. And one of the ways that you enhance that is through the social distancing. In South Carolina, the governor is now also encouraging folks not to gather in groups of more than 3. And so we are taking this seriously. There's no doubt that we have to find a way to flatten the curve. New York City is the epicenter of the coronavirus in America. What we are learning from New York City and New York State, frankly, will help the rest of the country and, frankly, the rest of the world. And so we're going to have to understand and deploy the necessary assets. But one of the fastest ways to flatten the curve is not through the federal government. It's actually through individuals making solid, consistent, conservative decisions to stay 5 feet away from the people that even you care about. My mother is 76 years old. She lives about 15 minutes away from me, but I don't go in her house. I don't have her over. We go on walks. I walk 5 feet behind her so we can have a conversation so that she has interaction. But if we take this that seriously, we will not only flatten the curve, we'll save a lot of lives, and certainly within the vulnerable communities in our country and in our neighborhoods.
Senator, I had John Taffer on American Bar Rescue, and he was talking about the fact that this, even when it's resolved, and he hopes soon, is going to change our way of life in ways we're not really appreciating. That social distancing rules will change, not maybe to the degree they are right now, but people will be spread out further apart in restaurants, in theaters, even at sports venues. What do you think of that?
I think you made a good point. I enjoy watching your show even when I'm not a guest on your show, so I was watching that part as well. And there's no doubt that when you think about the long-term consequences of social distancing and, frankly, an invisible enemy that is at war with your friends, your family, and yourself, the concept of social distancing is not going to be something that's embedded in law. It's going to be embedded in our psyche. So when you walk into a restaurant, when you walk into a bar, you're going to want to have more distance. I've often watched as I go to the grocery store or if I'm on a walk, if someone sneezes or coughs, it gets everyone's attention. So that tells you that it's now no longer what the government or what someone's telling you to do. It is now a part of the psyche. We have to be A, alert, but B, we should be careful not to embrace a fear mentality, but we have to be cautious. I also think about church. I enjoy going to church every Sunday, and I will tell you that every church that I know is thinking about how do we redevelop, how do we refocus our attention so that people feel safe coming into a sanctuary. And I've heard other people talking about, going to the movies in your car. You're probably not old enough to remember this, Neil, but there was a time when we had an outdoor drive-in theater where you could catch a movie.
Are you
in
kidding?
A big
I'm older
parking
than
lot,
you
so to
think,
speak.
Senator. Older than I remember it quite well.
You look so young.
I remember quite well.
Well,
I wish that
think
were
you're
true.
going to see new advents going back.
Oh, there we go.
I think we're going back to
finally,
the future.
it's. Well, you might be right. Sadly, I want to pass along, and you probably have heard already, Senator, that Tom Coburn has died at 72. Of course, the former senator, of course, made his mark talking about fiscal discipline and paraded Republicans and Democrats. We live in different times, and a stimulus package like this relief bill was certainly warranted given the conditions we had. But he spoke to a time when we were watching and looking at the pennies and the dollars leaving Washington. What do you think of his legacy?
Well, his legacy is a legacy that will live for decades, if not centuries. When I became a senator, every senator is assigned a mentor. My mentor was Tom Coburn. And one of the things that he taught me as a mentee was to make sure that you watch the pocketbook, so to speak. He was a frugal person because he understood that the more you spend now, just without question, the less you'll have to spend later. And what he really focused on was making sure that the resources that were necessary were deployed when necessary, but don't allow for things that are unnecessary to be embedded into the defense bill, because the defense bill was something that always was going to pass sooner or later. And so people would put their Christmas ornament, so to speak, on that bill in hopes of getting it through. He was very careful to purge the unnecessary from legislation. I think if he saw this $2 trillion bill, he would have wanted to purge out the Kennedy Center. He would have said the arts and the humanities might be important, but they're not necessary to fight the coronavirus. He would have purged that out. He was the kind of person who wanted temporary and targeted relief and then go back to business as usual. He was a solid person, strong character, and beyond his frugality, he believed in this country, and he fought the fight against cancer with every single fiber of his being.
Oh, you're not kidding.
And it was amazing to watch it. It was amazing to watch his strength under such challenging times for him personally. He was a good man, really good man.
And I know he spoke very highly of you. You were a good mentee. He was a very good mentor. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. Well,
Yes, sir.